is Jeanette from Bristle Ridge Farms and Neil's Homestead. We're about to open up our greenhouse in just a week. And when I say open up, I mean that we're going to start heating it. This truck over here has a load of potting soil in it that I picked up yesterday from a local greenhouse that is our supplier. We're going to unload that first, and then I will give you a short tour of some of what we're about out here. This is our truck that we take to market. It's a GMC 16-foot. It's actually a van, a box van. We call it a truck, but it's a box van. And back here is where I brought the potting soil home yesterday. Got a big load of potting soil, 100 bags. Kitty's checking it out there. So we got the potting soil all unloaded and stacked nicely on these two pallets. We put approximately 20 bags inside the greenhouse so they'll be nice and warm and ready for me to use instead of putting out another pallet out here. So I'm very satisfied with that. You're looking at our #1 greenhouse. This is the first greenhouse we ever built. It's a wood frame, treated wood with a truss rafters, 2 layers of plastic that are blown up by a fan. You can tell by the rounded look of the top that there is air blowing in between. It creates an insulation barrier that's supposed to help the heat stay in a little better. I've been working for several days on and off and cleaning up this greenhouse. In the middle of the summer, whenever we get so busy with our produce growing and our picking and everything, the greenhouse just kind of gets abandoned, and then it tends to have weeds growing up on the floor. It's got this ground cover on here, and the weeds won't grow up through it, but if there's dirt on the floor from potting soil that got spilled or just sifted up through dirt from the ground, it can let seeds fall in that, like grass seeds, and they will sprout and grow on top of the black plastic, but not up through it. Although there are some holes in it. This is getting kind of old, looks spotted up from wetness, and I think we're going to have to replace it for next year, I hope. But we have to go through and clean everything out and rearrange our supplies, go through, kind of count what we have, and get things a little bit organized. And I ordered new supplies. That's what these boxes are. I have to get them unpacked. This is some of the potting soil that I brought home and unloaded. We use Burger BM1. I'm very satisfied with it. That's the growing medium. For seed starting, I use Burger BM2. It's got a heavier sand mixture in it, so I put the seeds in this soil here. I use these little, what we call hot dog trays, because they've got these little channels in them, and I fill up that and then plant the seeds in there, put some more of the BM2 on top of it, and we keep it warm in this table right here. This is, I think, 4 feet wide by maybe 12 feet long. It's got sand here. In the sand there are heat cables that are buried down in there. The heat cables are controlled by a thermostat that is plugged in here. And on that thermostat, I can set the temperature that I want. These plants I've got going are ghost peppers. There, at this point, I've got 600 ghost peppers started. And then I've got in these pots some dwarf sunflowers just popping up. Just noticed last night that they were popping up. At night I cover them up with these clear plastic domes because we have some mouse problems. And then I've been laying these boards across the top so that a mouse can't get in there. They really like those sunflower seeds. And they like the pepper seeds. We heat this greenhouse with 2 different wood stoves. This is just a kind of a warm morning type house stove. We actually have had this in a house before. So, we put it here, and then in the back you can see that we have had, you can't see the stove, but we have a furnace outside, a wood burning furnace that blows in through that pipe and down onto the floor. This big pipe here goes onto the end of that pipe down there and kind of just pushes the heat up. So it blows in at the bottom, and then heat actually, naturally, I guess I should say, rises so that it helps disperse the heat a little bit throughout the greenhouse. And we've got this ugly looking curtain thing here that we lower down at the beginning of the time that we start heating the greenhouse, because we only want to heat what we need, and we don't need the whole thing at first. We just heat this front half with this stove, and hopefully we will have another mild end of the winter like we did last year, and we won't need a lot of wood. You can see that we're prepared for building fires. We've got stacks of wood, seems like all over the place. This greenhouse right over here to the east of what we call number 1 is what we call number 2. See, it has a big stack of wood in the back there, and there's a stove pipe. We have a stove back there, and I'm going to walk around to the front end of that. Previous video that you saw of Jeremiah showing the baking and the kitchen and everything, the market, he showed this greenhouse with our skid steer sitting out in front of it, where we were cleaning out the plastic, and these strings had cucumber plants on them. This building is first used as overflow for number 1. We will put black ground cover down on the floor of it, and we will just set things on the ground. We don't have benches in here. We just set things on the ground on the black ground cover, and I think it does a very good job. In the back, we have pipes hung up from the little rafters or the hoops where we hang hanging baskets. I'll do about 100 hanging baskets, which is small stuff compared to what a lot of greenhouses do. We might look like we're bigger than some people, big to some people, I guess, but in reality, what we do here is small and insignificant compared to other people. Greenhouse number 3. This greenhouse is 20 by 100. That greenhouse number 2 is 12 by 100. So it's the same length but narrower. This one has yet to be cleaned out. We also had cucumbers growing and tied up to these strings. The first year we set this greenhouse up, we grew tomatoes in here. At the end of last summer, we planted green beans in this. See where you can see this bare in between. Black plastic is here and there, and then there's bare ground there. We planted 2 rows of green beans, and they did fabulous. We also have some beets that there are still here in the middle of the weeds that we let grow. There are beets still here, and I've been, just for our own use, I pick them, and we occasionally have a mess of beets. Over on this side, we have some spinach, which I think Jeremiah showed on the previous video. We heat this, we can heat anyway, this with that stove right there. It's another house type stove. But in the back of this building, I'm gonna see if I can zoom in a little bit, and there is another wood furnace back there beside that door. Heating a greenhouse is hard because it's just plastic. The heat just escapes. So we'll leave this greenhouse and go on to the next one. This is greenhouse number 4. This is the last one that we put up last winter. It's the biggest one, 30 by 100. And we planted tomatoes in here last year. We did not tie them up from the ceiling because we don't have any system to support them from the ceiling. We used stakes, such as this wooden stake here. But I think it worked better. We used these long pieces of rebar. I think that it actually worked. They go into the ground better, and so you can drive them in deeper. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked what you saw and that you'll look forward to future videos. If you do, you could subscribe and like our video. Leave us a comment. We'd love to see it. God bless.